2 Chronicles 31. Now when all this was completed, all Israel who were present went out to the cities of Judah, shattered the pillars, cut the Asherim in pieces, and tore down the high places and the altars throughout all Judah and Benjamin, as well as in Ephraim and Manasseh, until the destruction was completed. Then all the sons of Israel returned to their cities, each to his possession. And Hezekiah set up the divisions of the priests and the Levites by their divisions, each according to his service, both the priests and the Levites, for burnt offerings and for peace offerings, to minister and to give thanks and to praise in the gates of the camp of Yahweh. He also appointed the king's portion of his goods for the burnt offerings, namely, for the morning and evening burnt offerings, and the burnt offerings for the Sabbaths and for the new moons and for the appointed times, as it is written in the law of Yahweh. Also he said to the people who lived in Jerusalem to give the portion due to the priests and the Levites, that they might be strong in the law of Yahweh. As soon as the word spread forth, the sons of Israel provided in abundance the firstfruits of grain, new wine, oil, honey, and of all the produce of the field, and they brought in abundantly the tithe of all. Now the sons of Israel and Judah who lived in the cities of Judah also brought in the tithe of oxen and sheep, and the tithe of the holy gifts which were made holy to Yahweh their God, and put them in heaps. In the 3rd month they began to make the heaps, and completed them by the 7th month. Then Hezekiah and the rulers came and saw the heaps, and they blessed Yahweh and his people Israel. Then Hezekiah inquired of the priests and the Levites concerning the heaps. And Azariah the chief priest of the house of Zadok said to him, Since the contributions began to be brought into the house of Yahweh, there has been much to eat and be satisfied with and have left over. For Yahweh has blessed his people, and this great quantity is left over. Then Hezekiah ordered them to prepare rooms in the house of Yahweh, and they prepared them. And they faithfully contribution and the tithe and the holy things. And Conaniah the Levite was the officer over them, and his brother Shimei was second. Now Jehiel, Azaziah, Nahath, Asahel, Jeremoth, Jozabad, Eliel, Ismachiah, Mahath, and Benaiah were overseers assisting at the hand of Conaniah and Shimei his brother by the appointment of King Hezekiah. And Azariah was the chief officer of the house of God. And Kor, the son of Imnah the Levite, the keeper of the eastern gate, was over the freewill offerings of God, to distribute the contributions for Yahweh and the most holy things. Now assisting by his hand were Eden, Meniamin, Jeshua, Shemaiah, Amariah, and Shechaniah in the cities of the priests, to distribute faithfully their portion to their brothers by divisions, whether great or small, without regard to their genealogical record, to the males from 30 years old and upward, every one who entered the house of Yahweh for his daily obligations, for their service and their responsibilities according to their divisions, as well as the priests who were recorded genealogically according to their fathers' households, and the Levites from 20 years old and upwards by their responsibilities and their divisions. The genealogical record included all their little ones, their wives, their sons, and their daughters, for the whole assembly, for they set themselves apart faithfully in holiness. Also for the sons of Aaron the priests, who were in the pasture lands of their cities, or in each and every city, there were men who were designated by name to distribute portions to every male among the priests, and to every one genealogically recorded among the Levites. Thus Hezekiah did throughout all Judah, and he did what was good, right, and true before Yahweh his God. And every work which he began in the service of the house of God in law and in commandment, to seek his God, he did with all his heart and succeeded. Revelation 17. Then one of the 7 angels who have the 7 bowls came and spoke with me, saying, Come here, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed sexual immorality, and those who dwell on the earth were made drunk with the wine of her sexual immorality. And he carried me away in the spirit into a wilderness. Then I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, full of blasphemous names, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was clothed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a gold cup full of abominations and of the unclean things of her sexual immorality. And on her forehead a name was written, a mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots, and of the abominations of the earth. Then I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints, and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus. When I saw her, I wondered greatly. And the angel said to me, Why do you wonder? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was, and is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss to go to destruction, and those who dwell on the earth, whose name has not been written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, will wonder when they see the beast, that he was and is not, and will come. Here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits, and they are 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, the other has not yet come, and when he comes, he must remain a little while. And the beast which was and is not is himself also an 8th, and is one of the 7, and he goes to destruction. And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but they receive authority as kings with the beast for 1 hour. These have one purpose, and they give their power and authority to the beast. These will wage war against the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them, because he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are the called and elect and faithful. And he said to me, The waters which you saw where the harlot sits are peoples and crowds and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which you saw, and the beast, these will hate the harlot, and will lay waste to her, and make her naked, and will eat her flesh, and will burn her up with fire. For God gave it in their hearts to do his purpose, both by doing their own common purpose, and by giving their kingdom to the beast, until the words of God will be finished. And the woman whom you saw is the great city, which has a kingdom over the kings of the earth. Zechariah 13. In that day a fountain will be opened for the house of David, and for the inhabitants of Jerusalem, for sin and for impurity. And it will be in that day, declares Yahweh of hosts, that I will cut off the names of the idols from the land, and they will no longer be remembered. And I will also cause the prophets and the unclean spirit to pass away from the land. And it will be that if anyone still prophesies, then his father and mother who gave birth to him will say to him, You shall not live, for you have spoken falsely in the name of Yahweh. And his father and mother who gave birth to him will pierce him through when he prophesies. And it will be in that day that the prophets will each be ashamed of his vision when he prophesies, and they will not put on a hairy mantle in order to deceive. And it will be in that day that the prophets will each be ashamed of his vision when he prophesies, and they will not put on a hairy mantle in order to deceive. But he will say, I am not a prophet, I am a cultivator of the ground, for a man sold me as a slave in my youth. And one will say to him, What are these wounds struck here between your arms? Then he will say, Those with which I was struck in the house of my friends. Awake, O sword, against my shepherd, and against the man, my associate, declares Yahweh of hosts. Strike the shepherd, that the sheep may be scattered, and I will turn my hand against the little ones. And it will be in all the land, declares Yahweh, that 2 parts in it will be cut off and breathe their last, but the 3rd will be left in it. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, They are my people, and they will say, Yahweh is my God. John 16. These things I have spoken to you, so that you may be kept from stumbling. They will put you out of the synagogue, but an hour is coming for everyone who kills you to think that he is offering service to God. These things they will do because they did not know the Father or me. But these things I have spoken to you, so that when their hour comes, you may remember that I told you of them. These things I did not say to you at the beginning, because I was with you. But now I am going to him who sent me, and none of you asks me, Where are you going? But because I have said these things to you, sorrow has filled your heart. But I tell you the truth, It is to your advantage that I go away. For if I do not go away, the Advocate will not come to you. But if I go, I will send him to you. And he, when he comes, will convict the world concerning sin and righteousness and judgment. Concerning sin, because they do not believe in me, and concerning righteousness, because I go to the Father, and you no longer see me, and concerning judgment, because the ruler of this world has been judged. I still have many more things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. But when He, the Spirit of truth, comes, He will guide you into all the truth, for He will not speak from Himself, but whatever He hears, He will speak, and He will disclose to you what is to come. He will glorify me, for He will take of mine and will disclose it to you. All things that the Father has are mine. Therefore I said that He takes of mine and will disclose it to you. A little while, and you will no longer see me, and again a little while, and you will see me. Some of His disciples then said to one another, What is this He is telling us? A little while, and you will not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me, and because I go to the Father. So they were saying, What is this that He says, a little while? We do not know what He is talking about. Jesus knew that they were wishing to question Him, and He said to them, Are you deliberating together about this, that I said, A little while, and you will not see me, and again a little while, and you will see me? Truly, truly, I say to you, that you will cry and lament, but the world will rejoice. You will be sorrowful, but your sorrow will be turned into joy. Whenever a woman is in labor, she has sorrow, because her hour is come. But when she gives birth to the child, she no longer remembers the suffering because of the joy that a child has been born into the world. Therefore you too have sorrow now, but I will see you again, and your heart will rejoice, and no one will take your joy away from you. And on that day you will not question me about anything. Truly, truly, I say to you, if you ask the Father for anything in my name, He will give it to you. Until now you have asked for nothing in my name. Ask, and you will receive, so that your joy may be made complete. These things I have spoken to you in figures of speech. An hour is coming when I will no longer speak to you in figures of speech, but will tell you openly of the Father. On that day you will ask in my name, and I do not say to you that I will request of the Father on your behalf. For the Father Himself loves you, because you have loved me, and have believed that I came forth from the Father. I came forth from the Father and have come into the world. I am leaving the world again and going to the Father. His disciples said, Behold, now you are speaking openly and are not using a figure of speech. Now we know that you know all things and have no need for anyone to question you. By this we believe that you came from God. Jesus answered them, Do you now believe? Behold, an hour is coming, and has already come, for you to be scattered, each to his own home, and to leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. These things I have spoken to you, so that in me you may have peace. In the world you have tribulation, but take courage, I have overcome the world.